giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by the Cochran Firm and Boston Scientific. We stream it live on YouTube and Facebook, and of course, I am your host, Will. I gotta get one a day. Skywalker still, boom. Feeling a little bit better. Not all the way, but we getting there. We getting there. Coming up today, business. You know, it moves quickly in the NFL. You lose, no one cares. No one feels sorry for you. Business continues on. And the dominoes are falling right away. We'll talk coaches. We'll talk the potential end of an era in Dallas. And we'll pick up where we left off yesterday with some more leftovers from the playoff exit. A lot of you guys didn't get a chance to call in. You can. And here, I'm thinking I'm going to get better, and I'm already coughing. If you didn't get a chance to call in, you can still do that today and talk about the game. 351-999-3787 Cowboys Nation. And get your thoughts in as best you can. I know yesterday we did not get a chance to do the Super Chat, so I want to do that real quick because look, man, I'm still recovering, and it just hit me at the end of the show, so I had to get up out of there. But we'll do some Super Chats in a quick second. And I had to bring back the boom, man, because yesterday I completely forgot about this until I went on Twitter. Was Raw is 30. And if you know, big time wrestling fan, Raw turned 30 yesterday, and it was only right to bring back the boom. But if you watch that, pretty cool stuff, some nostalgic stuff. It's not the same, but I'm just real nostalgic when it comes to my wrestling, dog. But a lot of Cowboys news to get into. We're in the off season. We got to kind of slow roll all of this stuff. But today we'll mainly focus on these coaches, and we'll talk about, again, potential end of an era and what that could mean for the Cowboys moving forward from a cap standpoint, from a player personnel standpoint, and possibly from a schematic standpoint. So stay tuned for that. And, again, we'll take your calls as well. We already got a few calling in. 351-999-3787. So let me get to the Super Chats from yesterday, as many as I can as I go through this list here. Let me get some. There we go. Truth Only.
Super Chat.
Appreciate you. Drop one and said, thanks for the great show, Sky. You said all year Dak and Kellen has peaked. One has to go, but we have Dak. We're stuck with Dak, so you have to see what a new offensive coordinator can do. Go Cowboys. Put a pin in that. We'll talk about that here in the roundup. Marcos, you dropped a couple, wanted to call in. Here's your chance to call in. Appreciate it. Zeus said,
Super Chat.
We need a new QB coach. Doug Nuss has not helped Dak improve. Dak had his best season under Kitna. Put a pin in that. Dwayne said, Kellen sucks.
Super Chat.
We lost our way once Pollard got hurt. Sam said it's about Dak until you go on by Dak and Zeke too. I don't know if he's trolling.
Super Chat.
Sam you're very strange, dude. Until you call in and you actually make sense. But in the chat, I don't know who you are.
Super Chat.
Toxic says, Sky, I don't want to be right. I want Dallas to finally adapt to the modern NFL and live up to the hype. Look at Cincy when the owner got out the way. That was the example we used in the AFC Championship game. Right after that was over, I brought up Cincinnati. Yeah.
Super Chat.
Toxic 4 and 8 check down said, hope you feel better, King. 4th and 8 check down. That's interesting. Are you a Minnesota fan?
Super Chat.
King Element said, this is why when you asked a question before the season about putting any player in the league on your team, I said Mahomes, the alien. I mean, it's about the only dude. Like, if you're talking about quarterback, other players, I would take some other dudes, but defensively. But
Super Chat.
Below said, appreciate this guy for all you do. Until next season, peace. And then
Super Chat.
Calvin said, we tried wide receiver by committee for the second time. A little bit. I mean, you had your guy and then you had a committee. But, you know. All right. Appreciate those super chats. We'll talk about a lot of that. We talked about a lot of the Dak stuff yesterday. That'll probably continue today as much as we can. But first, we got to hit the roundup, take care of some business, some news. And for real, the show is really going to center around the roundup until you guys take it wherever you want on the phone. So let's get into that.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Hey, yo. A lot of coaching news. About to come out, and we'll probably hear some results on what happens here by the end of the week, earliest next week. But Dan Quinn and Kellen Moore are set to do some interviews today and throughout the week. Well, at least Dan Quinn throughout the week. I don't know outside of Kellen besides Carolina, but we'll get to that in a second. Dan is set to interview with the Cardinals today. He's being flown in, and he also, and that's their second interview, by the way. He also has he is a top candidate with the Broncos and Colts who want to bring him in this week. Like last year, this feels like Dan Quinn is not going to be back. And after having a fantastic showing in the postseason, I don't see how he comes back. Because one of the things that, people can poo-poo defensive coordinators being head coaches. Listen, the track record isn't that great, but he's a leader of men. And I think if he can learn from his mistakes as a head coach early on, but also take what he did learn in a good way, right, which is give me one of them ones at offensive coordinator and let me run the defense and be the leader of this team, and I think we can have success. People can get on Dan as a head coach all they want, but he took that team to the Super Bowl, somewhere the Cowboys haven't been since in 27, 28 years. So I would say his stint in Atlanta was a success. A lot of people won't agree with that, but I would say so. Kellen, however, is scheduled to interview with the Panthers today. I'm not sure about any other team just quite yet, but I guess more will come. And I say, good luck, right? Like, good luck, Carolina. Good luck, Kellen. But no, seriously, this question has come up a few times, and I'm pretty sure if Kellen gets a job, I'll have an entire show dedicated to this. But I told folks yesterday on Vach's show, because people were asking a question here, they were asking a question there. Well, what are some candidates, offensive coordinator candidates? So I said, let me dig a little deeper, and I came up with a few here. Bobby Slowick, 49ers pass game coordinator the last couple years, under obviously Kyle Shanahan. I would take a look at. And these are names I would at least take a look at. Not saying you got to hire them, but give them a call, see if they'd be interested in calling plays. But, of course, 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, the scheme. And one of the things I've often talked about is I don't like our passing game concepts. And when I watched the film, the offensive film yesterday, none of that changed. In fact, it was probably one of the worst I've seen in a little bit here in a meaningful game. A whole lot of short game stuff, hooks that we're used to, and mirrored routes, which means you can't come back to the other side. It just was really weird. And I said this on Vach's show. I would love, I'm going to try to get a sit down with John Kitna, y'all. I'm going to try to get one for you, because there's this weird thing with the timing of the dropbacks to the routes that have bothered me for the last 2 or 3 years. And yesterday it was really strange. And I just need clarity from an actual quarterback in the NFL. So, like, what is this? What does this mean? Does this make sense? It doesn't look right. So I'm going to try to get a sit down with Kitna. But Bobby Slowick, 49ers pass game coordinator, I would definitely reach out. Frank Wright is another one. He's a little older, longer in the tooth. Been around the league, though. Been around some successful stints. And obviously helped coordinate the Eagles to a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback, where they kind of had to rework their offense once Carson Wentz went down. But when they had Carson Wentz in there, Carson Wentz was MVP candidate. So I would 100% look at Frank Wright as an OC. I feel like, he got good stuff out of all the many quarterbacks that he was thrown at after Andrew Luck went down. He did the best he could there. So Frank Wright, Bobby Slowick, Wes Welker. I know this one is kind of out there. He's never called plays either. Same with Bobby Slowick. But Wes Welker, who was the Dolphins wide receiver coach, was also with San Francisco for 3 seasons when they went to the Super Bowl and NFC Championship games. He was a wide receiver coach there and offensive assistant in Houston in 2017, 2018. So he's been coaching for a little bit. Borderline Hall of Fame type wide receiver, successful player, and is seeming to get a lot of respect around the league as a coach as well. So I would, again, reach out. Hey, are you interested? Have you ever been interested in calling plays? Kind of just get an idea on what his philosophies would be. Would he be able to tie some of Shanahan's philosophies with what he learned in under Bill and what he has with Mike McDaniel? So Wes Welker is another guy. And then Scott Turner, former Washington offensive coordinator who they just got rid of, which they may be getting rid of a lot of people there. But I've always admired Scott Turner's rushing attack. So if you want to bring in a guy that has a run game scheme, that's your guy right there. And then you can build off of the run game, incorporate your passing game off of that, meaning not just, hey, regular play action. No, but your run game mirrors what your passing game looks like. Kind of a poor man's Kyle Shanahan in a way, right? Like where everything kind of looks the same. Scott Turner, I have no problem with Scott Turner. I mean, Washington fans might hate him because I don't know. You know how we all don't like our coaches when we aren't winning. But every time we went up against Washington and I'm doing film study, I come to y'all every single game and say, hey, man, pretty jealous of this run game scheme. Pretty damn jealous. Would love to have it. Well, here's your chance, man. So those are 5 offensive coordinators. Notice I'm just talking about guys that you can elevate to OC or hire as OCs, not head coaches, a.k.a. Sean Payton. And Slowick, because he's not an OC, he can be elevated. I don't think San Fran can stop it. They might be able to, but I don't see why they would. Frank Wright is unemployed, so he can just be your OC. Wes Welker is a receiver coach. You can elevate him. Scott Turner is unemployed. You can sign him as an OC. We can break this down even more. Put a pin in this. If Kellen does go, this will be we'll talk about this even more in depth. We'll maybe break down some film and whatnot and get into it, because I think that decision, who they bring in, is going to be extremely important. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up John Kitna, but I would love John. I don't know if they'll bring him in here. But that's going to be a huge decision on what the Cowboys elect to do at offensive coordinator. Defensive coordinator, feel like Joe Witt would be the guy. Vic Fangio is my running favorite here. But I feel like offensive coordinator would be the more complex decision to make, because you don't have a guy in-house, I think, that is qualified to take over. And that includes one of the guys whose contracts are expiring on this team. And those coaches are Joe Philbin, Skip Pete, George Edwards, Leon Lett, and Doug Nussmeier. I would listen, they like Doug there. He's respected there. If you're going to bring Doug back, sure, bring him back in a different role. But I feel like we need different voices on this offense. We just do. We need fresh voices, fresh ideas, more nuanced ideas, whatever you want to call it, in this offense. So, guys like Joe Philbin, Doug Nussmeier, I respect Skip. I would bring back Skip Pete. Leon Lett, I don't think is going nowhere. He's probably going to be here forever. And George Edwards, I would also bring back as well. But a lot of these coaches' contracts are expiring. And I think a couple of these guys are going to have to be, they're going to move on from. Joe might flat out just retire. He's old. He did the best he could do this season. I think it's been a kind of an up and down tenure for Joe Philbin. Maybe we'll have this conversation another time. But Joe Philbin, I thought, did the best he could in 2020 with all the injuries. Then it was really weird in 2021. And then in 2022, I thought he kind of got, I don't know, I thought he got the best out of what he had there. I truly do. The issue with Joe is that he doesn't have any type of scheme that comes with him. He's just coaching up these dudes, and maybe he should be an assistant offensive line coach as opposed to the O-line / run scheme guy. But part of me, maybe I got to ask around. I don't know if Joe will be back. I don't. Mike Munchak is out there, though. And that's a guy that I was interested in last year if they decided to move on. And I would 100% bring him in again. And then the meat and potatoes of today's show, the lead block, as they say in this industry, is that according to sources, Ezekiel Elliott is willing to take a pay cut. And this is coming from Michael Gelkin, one of the most respected guys in the industry. Ezekiel Elliott wants to stay with the Cowboys in 2023, and he is willing to accept a pay cut in order to achieve that, a person familiar with this thinking said today. So many things around this. I find it very interesting that almost immediately this comes out, like a day after the season's over. That tells me some things here. Tells me Zeke knows that the end is near, right? Zeke knows I'm not him, whatever you want to call it. I'm not that guy, pal. And I know I can't come back on under this circumstance, under this amount of pay. And if that is the case, which it is, trust and believe. You just got to keep it moving, man. And that sucks to say because of everything he gave the Cowboys his first like 4 years or so with the team, you know. But man, when you look at this, and then you compound it with the carries over his tenure here, the injuries because he's been banged up for 3 consecutive seasons now. I don't know how he just gets better. He averaged 3.8 yards per carry this season. He did have 12 touchdowns, and I think 10 of them all came within 10 yards. That's what he is, right? He's a goal line short yardage back now. But you don't pay goal line short yardage backs almost $20 million a year. Like, you just don't do that. The last 10 games of the season were just so glaring to me that he was done in that sense. 3.2 yards per carry, and he had 6 games this season. 6 where he did not average 3 yards per carry. 11 games where he averaged under 3.9 yards per carry. And we're just talking the numbers. I ain't even talking about when you actually put on a tape and watch. I mean, it's just not the same dude. Not even remotely close. And in the playoffs, he was worse. He had 23 carries and averaged 2.3 yards per carry. And when Tony Pollard went out, I was hoping okay, Zeke, look, we just need you one time to just turn back the time, turn back the clock. Didn't happen. And if they cut Zeke as a June 1st cut, they'll save $10.9 million in cap, and they can split the cap hit so it won't cost you a whole lot over those 2 years. Again, offseason talk, we'll get into cap and all that stuff. But if they'd elect to keep him, which I don't think they will, hence why he's coming out, or his people is coming out saying I would take a pay cut. But if they elect to keep him at the same amount of dollars, he'd cost you roughly $17 million on the cap. So I pose the question to you, Cowboys Nation. Would you bring back Ezekiel Elliott even on a reworked contract? Yes or no? I'll just be simple. I won't railroad him. I won't go in on him. Just a flat out no. Just a flat out no. I think you have something in Malik Davis. Allow Malik Davis to be a part of the committee. He averaged 4.2 yards per carry and 7.3 yards per touch when you combine his running and his receptions. And he only had 6 receptions. I would allow Malik Davis to be a part of this thing. And, I said this at the beginning of the season. And this goes back for years for me. When I watch, if you're going to be a defensive-led team and a running team, then you need to lean on that, and you're going to have to do it with at least 3 backs. We didn't necessarily do that, and it was daunting. It was very confusing, actually. In the playoffs, when Tony Pollard went down, Malik Davis saw 0 touches. And I find myself saying this over the last 2 or 3 years. When you're in a funk, man, when you're in a rut, give it to a guy that can give you a spark. Malik Davis can be a spark player. Turpin can be a spark player. Obviously, Lamb can be a spark player. And we just didn't do that. Malik Davis got in on what was a ridiculous call, a unbalanced line. They had Avion Collins literally a yard behind the guard. They power right, which they should have ran right. I don't know what this was. I would love for them to ask Kellen or Dak, like, why did you run left? Where if you look at the lineup, you had 4 guys to the left on 2. And then it really wasn't a run. It was a run play. I don't know what that was. But that was like the only attempt that Malik Davis essentially got in that game. And these are kind of the situational things I'm talking about when I talk about Kellen Moore. Very important part of the game on 1st and 10, and you wasted it down. Similarly, it was almost if whenever Zeke touched the ball over the last 6 weeks, felt like a wasted down. And I said I wasn't going to go in on him, but let's just be honest. It felt that way. So I would not bring him back, Cowboys Nation. I would thank him for his services and move forward. At the running back position, you don't need, damn sure don't need that production, but you can get a guy, especially if you get one of these coordinators like a Scott Turner, for instance, who has a quality run scheme, right? I don't need Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott is not Adrian Peterson, peak AP, peak Zeke, peak Bell. He's not one of those dudes anymore. So if you want to bring back TP, that's fine too, but you can get it back. You can get it back. And you know, I didn't look this up. Somebody said you never draft running back in the 1st round. I was thinking about this the other day, just thinking about Cowboys. And I'm like, you know, the 2 teams that drafted running backs in the top 5 over the last, 7 to 10 years. I mean, I'm sure there's more. But the 2 that I can remember vividly, Cowboys and the Giants. Again, Zeke was fantastic for about a 4-year stretch, and that's usually how it goes, right? When you're a elite running back, you got about a 3 to 5 year max, I think, where you are the best running back. And if you hit the 5-year mark, borderline Hall of Fame. But Giants, Cowboys, we're looking at the Cowboys ready to move on from Zeke, and people are saying that they shouldn't have given him the money in the first place. It's fair. And then the Giants, they're having questions. Do we want to bring back Saquon Barkley? Can he stay healthy? Is he the same? Yeah. Has any other team? Fournette, and Fournette's not there anymore. Look, think about it. Like, look at the running backs drafted in the top 5 or what have you of the draft. I mean, we could say 1st round, but I'm just talking about top 5, right? Top 10, top 5, whatever. Has it really? I hate to use the term worked out, because it worked out for the Cowboys in a way. Like, Zeke put up phenomenal numbers his first 3 or 4 seasons in the league. High volume, but literally every year things started to trickle down. But he was great for great. I mean, on a ridiculous trajectory for 3 years. So in a way it worked out. But long term, which is the thing, right? Like, when you take a guy in the top 5, you're thinking 10 years. And you want to keep those dudes for 10 years and beyond. That's where the debate comes in. That's where the debate comes in. All right, as promised, let's get back to some callers who didn't get a chance to get in on the phone lines last night. Yesterday, the Pulse of the Nation phone lines presented by the Cochran Firm. Make sure you guys hit up the Cochran Firm for all your legal needs, whether it be automobile, whether it be any type of challenging civil case that you may be involved in. These guys care down there at the Cochran Firm, and they will fight for you. So give them a call at 1-800-THE-FIRM or get your free consultation at CochranTexas.com. Got to hear from my guy, B. Bird, man, after the playoff loss. Didn't get a chance to talk to you, OG. How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. Actually, it was a tough loss. Man, my son took it bad, man.
Oh
I
man,
looked at him and I said, he took it bad. He just got quiet in the fourth. You all right? And I'm tired of this, man. I say,
see,
well, you've been living for 18 years.
I'm about
I've
to
been
say,
living
man.
longer, a lot longer
Yeah,
than
he
that.
ain't been through it enough. He ain't been through it enough, man. We done got numb to
Well,
this
what
thing.
it is, yeah, and so he just, man, because he's all in now, man. So he's a diehard just like I am, man. It hit him different this year. So, but one thing, man, I take a little bit of comfort in is this. I really think that our solution is really simple to me. And that's what I take solace in because, and I hope they actually handle this. If you look at, because I'll let the chat know, and you already know, I'm about a 7.5 on Dak. I'm not, I think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But I'm not all in on him, nor am I. Anybody say he's a terrible quarterback or not good, and I don't even listen to those guys either. But I would tell you this: the 8 teams playing this week, and somebody might have brought this up before. Name there's only one other team, but in my opinion, but name another team that had that we had a better wide receiver core than out of the 8 teams that are there.
I think you argue they had the worst.
Yeah, I would say this. There's only another one that I think that's bad. It's New York Giants.
Oh, yeah, the Giants. Aside of the Giants, the 8 remaining teams, yeah.
Yeah. But look, they scored 7 points also.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? We scored 12, they scored 7.
Yeah.
The problem is, man, is that, and Dak isn't going anywhere, y'all, because of you just can't do it. And so the thing is, man, is what you have to do is give him weapons. If you look at what happened in Kansas City, they lost Hill, they went and got weapons. Philadelphia traded for a wide receiver weapons. And so, all these teams went and acquired weapons, but what we did is gave one away in Amari Cooper. The Amari Cooper trade doesn't hurt you against the Tennessee. It doesn't hurt you against some of these teams that you just have more talent at. But when you get into the playoffs, it hurts you because you need all your top guys. You got to give Dak more guys right now because, what you saw in the second half there, I cannot remember another wide receiver catching the ball in the second half but CD. And it just got to be, whereas we just, it just got to be monotonous, and it doesn't give Dak. I think what you have to do right now is say, Dak's going to be here. We're going to go get a wide receiver, whether it's Hopkins, whether that's somebody else, but we need another threat on the other side. And then we may even need a number 3. I think what we have to do right now, I think the answer is simple. We see the problem. Go on.
I just have to chuckle because B, what were we saying in the offseason about this room?
Yeah, it was terrible.
So I just have to chuckle a little bit, but that's just part of it, right? Like it clearly, wide receiver has to be a position you attack this offseason. But I want to know who is the orchestrator of this offense. That matters as well, right? Like who is orchestrating this thing?
Yeah. And I don't know if they're going to do anything with Kellum because they love him so much. You know what I'm saying? And so
well, they might not have that choice if he gets hired, right? As a head coach.
Well, that'd be great. That'd be great, but I don't see which organization would like to do that with what he's shown. He has such limitations on his offense. So, but I was just calling to tell you, man, that I really think it reminds me, man, and I know you probably can't remember this, but before we won our Super Bowls in the 90s, we played against Detroit in the playoffs, and we got killed by a backup quarterback. Why? Because we suffered at cornerback. The next year we got Kevin Smith, and we got Darren Woodson, and we got Clayton Holmes, I think. And we just fortified that position. Why? Because in that game, it stuck out like a sore thumb. This game, the wide receivers stuck out like a sore thumb. And so hopefully they go and address that. Hopkins is out there. You never know who else is out there, man. We have to address that. And I'm not talking about via the draft, because what we did, man, we lost Amari Cooper, and we got Tobin in the draft and Washington. Neither one of them were active in that game, so we really got nothing for Cooper. And so that one there haunted us just this weekend, man. And that's all I wanted to say, brother. And keep it up, man. I'll be calling you later. I'll be listening offline, man. I appreciate you taking my call.
Appreciate you, B Bird. It is the off season, and I enjoy speaking with B Bird once we get into the off season. I love his history of the game and this team. And boy, y'all, I gotta lock these up. It is, God dang. We're going to be at 12 o'clock. We got a lot of our OGs are normal, so we got Dennis Houston. DMV. What's good brother?
What's going on, Sky? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Man, I had an opportunity to watch the All 22 this morning. Really digest it and look at things. And first and foremost, I just want to say this defense really. I mean, while they gave up some plays later on, I don't think they gave up plays. I think that their guys that they have, the guys that are who are built to be, they made plays. Like,
man, defense was fantastic, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes when you got players like they got, where they got Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, you're going to make some plays, and they're going to be contested plays. And I think that was just the difference in the game. They got Kittle, we got to show. You know what I'm saying? Well,
and they put them in position. Like, how many third downs when you put on the film? Well, you didn't even have to. You just can watch the broadcast view where it was 3rd and 5, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 7 or whatever. And they're like, okay, we're going to isolate Ayuk on your linebacker. We're going to isolate McCaffrey on Micah. We're going to isolate Debo on XYZ. And they convert a first down on a simple read.
Absolutely. They made it really easy for Purdy. Purdy honestly didn't do anything crazy in this game. You know what I'm saying? He just
didn't turn the ball over.
They did not make mistakes on all 3 phases. They really just played the game. They played a clean game for the most part. Well, I mean, there were some things that, you could say the refs let them get away with. But outside of that, I mean, I don't think the refs affected this game per se. They didn't cost us a game.
No.
And I think Kellen and Dak together, like I tweeted this, but Kellen and Dak together, I felt were 50% of what the problem was. But when we had Pollard in, things were easy for us, in my opinion. So that was a big portion. So I don't want people to jump off the bridge and just blame everything on that, because that injury was huge. You know what I'm saying? That Pollard going out. And, Kellen really just lining guys.
The conference has been unlocked.
Some of those plays, we were just dead to rights and we didn't have a shot at them, bro. And I just think you got to cut those. You got to break those 2 up, and you got to bring somebody else in. Maybe let Mike pull the plays, and you got to see if it's Dak. You have to see if it's Dak. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to do this last year. I mean, this is a year too late, in my opinion. But yeah, man, I've been repeating myself with this. They've hit their cap. They've reached their peak. You can't possibly bring this duo back and expect to have anything different. Kellen's scheme is Kellen's scheme, and I just think Dak is too. I don't want to use the term robotic in it, but he's too comfortable. I know this sounds crazy, right? This sounds crazy to say too comfortable, but he knows.
No, it doesn't.
But I don't know how to explain it in the right term, but he just knows, okay, this is where this guy is going to be. This is where I have to go. And teams know this is what they've been doing for, 4 years now with this scheme. There's nothing complex to it, so I know I'm going to go here as soon as Dalton Schultz, the way he's lined up, the way he comes off the line of scrimmage, the way this set is. He's going to turn around. Greenlaw didn't even budge, bro. He beelined. I mean, beelined right to Dalton Schultz for what should have been a pick 6. If that don't tell you, right got dang there. And it wasn't like it was, Dak's holding the ball for 7 seconds and then coming back. Man, it was snap right to Dalton Schultz, almost a pick 6. Teams are just sitting on this. They know what your Q is going to do. They know what the calls are going to be. They know if you're not going to commit to the run game or have any type of run action, your passing game concept is extremely easy to deal with. We just got to get your quarterback uncomfortable a little bit and make him make a mistake or make him come back late, and we'll be good to go. We'll have a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Our passing game is it's 7-on-7, like, bro, where it's like it's drawn up on the paper. It doesn't allow the creativity for the receivers to really run routes, get to a spot at a certain time. And, you know what I'm saying, like, it's unfortunate. But, yeah, I don't want to hold up too much time, but I just wanted to call in, bro. You're doing an excellent job. Love you guys, man.
Appreciate you. Good stuff by DMV. I should check his stuff out, man. It's funny because I don't know what time you wake up, man, but I thought I'd get up early and get into the lab. I get on Twitter and I see DMV in the lab. So salute to DMV. Does fantastic work. Reek, did you get in here? Reek, you did. See, I done opened the line back up for you, Reek, and we got about 10 different dudes that jump back in here. What's goody, Reek?
Yeah, it was good, Sky. It was good, Cowboy Nation, man. Thank you, my brother. Yeah, man, I had to get this up off me, man. Hey, man, it was a good season. We wasn't really expected to be here because most teams would have lost focus after their starting quarterback goes down in week 1 and not having their left tackle. So that was a big deal. That showed the team had fight. We had some grit. But this playoff loss to me is that they didn't take the same concept that they took into that Tampa Bay game into this 49er game. They got basic and simple again, like what Mike Evans was saying about them before the first playoff game.
Yeah. And
the guy White. They brought the same dumbass shit into this game. Only one came with a good concept to play ball was Dan Quinn and his defense, even though they screwed the pooch a little bit too, but they got tired. You can't have your defense out there playing good like that, playing ball, and you're not putting points on the board.
Yeah,
so yeah,
you could argue. I mean, I guess Brock Purdy though, so I don't want to go too crazy with that. But you could argue that they wasted one of the better defensive performances in the playoffs for the Cowboys, and I'm taking into account the scheme that they got to deal with and the weapons that they had to deal with. The only thing I can say about the defense is Trayvon Diggs, right? Like catch the interception, maybe we're having a different conversation, and then tackle Kittle. Other than that, man, listen, they isolated your guys a few times. You're going to get got in this scheme, but for 99% of this game, this defense, they held it together.
Yeah. My thing is, Kellen Moore, I hope he's gone. I'm just being honest, man. I need somebody over there in Dak's ear, talking his ear off, and basically letting Dak know that what he's doing out there is unacceptable, and he's not going for that shit. You know what I mean?
Kellen ain't doing that.
And, yeah, Kellen's not doing that. That's that buddy bullshit. And, like, that's what's bringing Dak down, man. Nobody's really holding him accountable on the sideline when he comes off the sideline, man. And Kellen, I just want him out of here, man, because I look at it like this. A lot of people was talking about, oh, Dak's a bad quarterback, Dak this, Dak that. Okay, the man had a bad game. But if you go back to the quarterbacks that we had before Romo or Dak Prescott, tell me if you want those quarterbacks instead of Dak Prescott. We got a decent quarterback. He needs to get his head on the swivel, but they also need, as an organization, to get this dude weapons and at the same time get him the right coaching staff in here to help him out. And because there's no reason for Zeke to be the only damn running back on the field when Tony Pollard goes out. The rookie showed you he had a little bit of wiggle. He knew how to catch the ball. You telling me if the passes that Dak was throwing to Ezekiel Elliott that he drops, you telling me Davis wouldn't have had a better chance at catching the pass and running with it? The dude showed you he can run the ball and catch the damn ball. So I don't understand that concept. Like, and then we got these young tight ends that we wasn't even using like that in this game. What's wrong with Kellen Moore? It's like he went to the same shit that he did last year when we lost in the wild card game to the 49ers. The damn tape looked damn exactly the same. If you really look at it, how they was playing, I'm like, damn, why is he going back doing this bullshit? If you're gonna use these linemen like a fullback, go get a damn fullback in the offseason and run with it. What the fuck is your problem, bro? Like, that shit just pisses me all the way off with this team, and I'm tired of this yes man concept in this organization. Jerry needs to say enough is enough. I don't have that many summers left ahead of me to keep going through this with this team acting like this. I need Big Dog Jerry to come back through. Like, we getting some players for this team. Now, if Dak failed after that, he gone. I can get that. But quit trying to make this man to be Superman the whole damn time and try to will a team to try to win big games. All these teams that's in the playoffs now, they went out and got key free agents. They traded. They did what they were supposed to do. Why we keep getting people off the damn scrap heap and think that's gonna make a big difference in this organization? They need to do some soul searching over there in Dallas, man. Quit bullshitting us, man. But other than that, Scott, thank you for listening to me. Cowboy Nation, keep your head up, baby. It's all good. We weren't supposed to be here. Remember that. Peace.
Appreciate you, Reek. Gotta let it get it out. I mean, you could put it on loop. You could literally take that entire montage, or most of it, replay it from last year, replay it 5 years ago, replay it 10 years ago. This is what the Cowboys are going to do, man. So, much like Romo, I said it with Romo, say it with Dak. You just got to overcome it. And he had opportunities in that game to do it. Now, would that have been enough to win a Super Bowl? Probably not. I don't know if they would have been able to do that unless he would have came with a different bag. And that's the thing. What bag are we coming with? What Dak are we coming with in those games? I've been saying this to y'all for months. Who are we? Who are we, man? 1 week we're this, next week we're that. And I'm not talking about the results, right? I'm not talking about the results. I'm about the process. I know who that team that, and I'm saying that team because I'm looking at the film, but I know who that team that we played with or played against are going to be every week. I know who Philly's going to be. I know who San Fran or the Giants. Hell, I know what they're going to be every week. I know what so many of these other playoff teams are going to be every week. I don't know who Dallas is going to be. 1 week we're doing X, Y, Z. The next week we ain't doing none of it. And that's why I say, well, who's orchestrating this offense? Because if it's very similar to this, where it's just we don't know who we are, we don't really have a true identity, I think you can expect the same results. Well, we can get into the conversation of players and all that stuff. We will. We'll talk about who's free agents, et cetera, et cetera. But you had opportunities in this game. The one thing that just annoyed me, man, was that, okay, you see your Qs having issues. Same thing with Purdy. Purdy wasn't great in this game. But it was like Shanahan said, all right, we need a first down. Let me get in my bag. We needed a first down in this game. I lied to you not. DMV, I don't know if you guys did this. I decided to take screenshots of how many freaking hook routes we were running in the first half. I think I got up to 5 or 6. What are we doing, man? This is where I need a bit of that. Where we at? In the system, and for Dak to be like, this. No, we're not doing this. But that's not in the system, man. Set it off, Chris. Set it off, dog.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Hey, man, I listened to you all day yesterday. I just wanted to be able to collect my thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, let everybody understand how they been, man. And this is a tough one. B. Bird really laid it out a certain kind of way. And you know, DMV. And like you said, man, anybody who's listening to you under the sound of your voice and on your page on a regular basis, they need to know. They need to come go and follow DMV and listen to what he's talking about, man, because yeah, he's a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
But what I was saying, bro, is you know, there's an artist, I don't know if you probably familiar with, I'm not if everybody's familiar with him. It's Kenny Lattimore. And he made a song long ago, say it's called Separation. Because we need to think about separating. Because things ain't working out. And this thing with Kellen and Rain has gone as far as it can go. Yep. We've taken every ounce of juice out of it. And you're right, man. When you don't know who you're going to be from week to week, that is the most frustrating thing on God's creation. Because every week you have to sit up and wonder who's going to come out or who they're going to be. And you're putting way too much on this guy to be able to do that. Reek said it best. Are we going to use the tight ends? Hey, Reek said it even more, and Zeke even said it in his post press conference when Tony went out. The pony package went away. So how is it that you turn around for this playoff game and you don't have a contingency plan that either one of those guys got hurt, that you continue to use the game plan that you set out for to use to beat this football team? Because like we've all said and we've all seen, we're going to watch all 22, and we're probably going to watch this game again ad nauseum and say there were opportunities to win. So at the end of the day, man, it's done what it can do. I like your list of OCs that are out there, but this team must and needs to have an identity. As many folks, you know, I saw all the Super Bowls as 90s, and I've been a Cowboy fan since, you know, I came off my mother's breast milk, all that good old stuff. But at the end of the day, man, you see that we do not have an identity. That football team was a run-to-pass football team. They could pass, but they were a run-to-pass team. Every team you saw this weekend has their identity. You got to remove Kellen. You've got to put and build pieces and build this situation around him for at least the next 2 years. It's $58 million. It's $58 million if you get rid of him. It's another $90 million if you try to get rid of him this year.
Yeah, so talking about Dak?
Yeah.
If you want to get rid of Dak, you're subscribing to you want to suck for the next 3 years or so, probably more. I just don't trust this franchise to be able to get rid of a quarterback that is good enough to and
go get one
and then be a Super Bowl contender in the next year. You're going to be going through a rebuilding phase for a little bit here. So if you're okay with that, then it's fine. But I'm not. I want to try to win this thing, and then if it doesn't work out in the next year or two, and you want to move on and it makes sense financially, then yes. But I don't think I say this a lot, man. I don't think you're far away, but you got to be willing to take these kind of all-in approaches. And that's all out. That's not all in.
Man, listen, first off, this franchise this fan base isn't ready to go 4-12, 6-10. Those 2 years we went and did that, man, we absolutely lost our ever-loving mind when we were 4-12 to go get me. We were all jumping. Many were jumping off the bridge when you were 6-10 when you had Andy Dalton and Danucci quarterbacking. 8-8. You know what I'm saying? You were ready to lose your mind, right? So they need to get over this. We can go in the draft and go. No, you're not built for it. You've never been built for it. You don't even want to hear it because you're not willing to go through the doldrums of getting to that point. So if you're not willing to go through the doldrums, and Jerry and Steven ain't willing to be out of the news cycle long enough, then go all in. You got some pieces. But the one thing I think somebody said yesterday, man, and your shows are always overperforming. That's why you and Vach and Law and Foots and Okoye have the best people around you, because everybody that subscribes to you guys and listens to you guys are very knowledgeable. You just don't have great units. You got great players. You don't have great units. B. Bird said it best, man. You turned around and gave away Amari Cooper for a hot orange Gatorade. Orange ain't even the best flavor. You want to go get ice, go get the white one or something. You get him for a warm orange Gatorade, and it's nasty, right? And so you got Deron. The only bright spot of that whole fifth-round thing was Deron Bland, and everything else was trash. Everything else inside of that was trash. So even if you go get Hopkins, you still got to go build an identity. And how much are you willing to go all in on that? And I know we got another 6-8 months for that. But my question, I just want to leave this question out for you. Pollard's out for Pollard's broken leg takes 4 months to get back. I know it's a free agent question. How much you signing for? And I'm gonna get up out of here.
I tag. I tagged Tony Pollard. Appreciate you, Chris. And try to work out a deal. But if Tony Pollard, again, who's calling the plays, right? Who's calling the plays? Who's offensive coordinator? But I don't know. I wonder if his breaking his. I hate to say this, but I wonder if breaking his leg might make his price go down. I don't know. The good thing is it's a fracture of fibula. So you're talking about. I'm no doctor, but we'll talk to Dr. Boothby next week. I'd imagine it being a fracture in the bone is much better than it being a ligament issue. So he shouldn't have any issues coming back being himself by camp, right? Like way before camp, probably. So if Tony is going to be a dual threat guy for the next offensive coordinator, then yeah, I would bring him back and tag him and try to work out a reasonable deal. No Ezekiel Elliott type deal. I'm not paying no running back that type of situation, but I would look to bring him back if it makes sense, because he's that good of a back. He doesn't have a lot of miles on his body. So. And if he wants something outrageous, then that's when you say, all right, man, we'll move on and we'll try to we can get it back in the draft. We found you in the 4th round or 6th round or 4th round, and we'll try to find another Tony Pollard. But I would have the conversation for sure. Professor O, you said something in the chat earlier. I make sure I didn't want to miss this because I was thinking about this too. He said we never double move that either. I think you're talking about the hooks and whatnot. Bro, I was thinking, like, when's the last time I saw a double move on film? Like, if there was any time to do it, I mean, we talked about this in the pregame show against San Francisco. But they're susceptible to the deep ball. They're susceptible to attacking them deep. And I don't mean just for verts. I mean in a conceptual way. And we just never do it. I mean, we never do it in general, but this would be the time, right? Because San Fran is sitting on that. But I just don't remember, man. And you guys can give me, a half dozen or so instances where there were double moves on film you saw, but I just did not see many double moves. And that is a shocker to me because teams, they pop on the tape, they see how you play. I think it'd be so easy to just be like, yo, you want a tendency breaker? Here's an easy one. Here's an easy one. Everybody running these hooks, we going to run a double move with one of them. Really weird. Good morning, Glenn. What you got for us?
Hey, good morning, Sky. Glad to hear you and see you feeling better. I actually missed the show yesterday, but I think you were maybe out 1 or 2 days last week. So good to see you back in the saddle.
Thank you, man.
Listen, your last caller, or you're noting the lack of double moves. He was dinking
that was the problem.
kind of stole a little bit of my thunder, but you talked about the offensive coordinator. Definitely Kellen is out of here. I mean, look, I hope he gets another job, and if he doesn't, well, then he's fired. So there's just no question about it.
I mean, I shouldn't say never, but I just got this feeling that they won't fire him. He's their guy, their golden boy, whatever. But I think they should move on.
Yeah. Well, out of the names you listed, I think so I live here in the D.C. area, even though I grew up in Dallas. And I will tell you.
Yeah, what do they think about Scott
Turner? So let me tell you, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I've watched every Washington game because I have not. I don't care about that team. But I was not impressed. And I think the thing that got him in trouble, and I see this with a lot of offensive coordinators around the league, there are a lot of coaches calling plays who think they have a system just because of their namesake, but they don't have a system. And I think Scott Turner's problem is that he has the same tendency that Kellen does, which means a disjointed offense, where there are times when you start out, maybe you're having success in one aspect of the game, and then you completely scrap that on the next series or even on the next play and just go shotgun. And it doesn't make sense. And he doesn't feature players. Now, Scott Turner has some quarterback issues, no doubt.
I was just about to say.
Yeah,
could
no
it,
doubt.
Could it
no
be?
Doubt. But here's what he didn't have.
He's dealing with Wentz and Fitzpatrick and all these other carousels. I think they had like 5 quarterbacks in the last 2 years.
Without question, but they've had some players at other positions that you can just kind of make up for that and get the ball in their hands, which really takes me.
I don't know how much you can make up for a bad quarterback play.
Well, so let's talk about Kellen Moore. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Dak is a grade A quarterback. I think we all agree that's not what we have, but that's not what was needed on Sunday.
No.
I've identified really, and this really speaks to not only the game on Sunday, but I think this speaks to his tendencies. So the first issue, and you've mentioned this before, there are 3 that I identified. One is lack of pre-snap motion. Pre-snap motion is there not just to kind of get the defense unsettled, but it's also there to give your quarterback information. My quarterback needs to know before the ball is snapped whether it's a man or zone underneath. There's a chance they can change post-snap, but I'll tell you 90% of the time.
Let me add to this because there was pre-snap motion in this game, but the problem was there wasn't pre-snap motion with a purpose. Like, I was just watching a play where they had a pre-snap motion play with Ezekiel Elliott in the goal line where we had to settle for a field goal. But if the play was designed to go to Zeke or to look into the flat, he could have threw it there and, maybe had a chance to get a first down or a touchdown. But instead, it was designed to go to freaking Dalton Schultz, and they got like 3 yards out of it. Like, there's no purpose. There was no purpose with the motion in this game. And we talk about dribbling with a purpose all the time. I felt like they were just doing things to do things in regards to the pre-snap motion. It didn't really, in my opinion, it didn't really match with the post-snap action.
Well, it's not clear to me all year that there was necessarily a purpose. I thought with CeeDee Lamb on occasion, and it did there was a purpose, and it accomplished, because I think a lot of defensive coordinators were pulling their hair out trying to figure out how to stop CeeDee Lamb in the slot. But I'll say, so the lack of pre-snap motion with a purpose, I'll say. The second thing, as far as the deficiency in Kellen's game, is not getting explosives out of power sets. I think if you're a talented offensive coordinator, you should be able to line up in 2 tight ends, assuming you have decent weapons, which I'd say the Cowboys have decent weapons, especially when you have a tight end package that we have. Even with Hendershot being out, I think you could have still gone out there in 2 tight end sets with CeeDee Lamb and gotten some explosives with play action, because this works. A lot of people say, well, you have those power sets, you really can't get explosives. It works if your passing game and your running game are married. Yes, and that's part of the problem. That's the part of the problem with Kellen's offense. But the last issue that I see in his game or his play calling is the shotgun. And I've mentioned this before. Play action is better than shotgun, because when you're in a shotgun, you're absolutely a sitting duck, and there is a lack of ability to dictate to the defense. When you talk about these corners sitting on these routes, because when you line up a shotgun, I know automatically I'm pinning my ears back. We're coming after the quarterback. We're sitting on routes because we already know our defensive line is going to be able to get home or rattle his cage. And there's no question that Dak's cage was rattled. Both of those interceptions, I will tell you, both of those interceptions were panic interceptions. They were in shotgun, but there was absolutely no accountability to the running game. They were all ready for quick passes. And so I just think that teams are reading our mail. It was you could have lined up in a 2 tight end set and done play action and picked up that first down and maybe even gotten an explosive out of that. But that's the kind of thing where I see deficiencies in Kellen's game, and he's definitely peaked here. So we got to move on. Hopefully, the Cowboys will chalk this up to just really an inexperienced offensive coordinator. We need someone who's more seasoned and can really take advantage of those situations. With that, I'll let you go. Great show. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Glenn. I just don't think they're going to move on from him. I think it's going to take a team to hire Kellen Moore. That's their guy. Why would they? James, the truck driver. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Sky? How you doing, man?
All right.
You sound better than yesterday, man. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Just a little bit. I'm still going through the respiratory issues, but I'm better in spirit.
Yeah. First line of business. They need to get rid of Kellen Moore. I know you've been saying they're not going to do it, man. This marriage has run its course. It's not going to work. We have to get rid of him. We have no identity on offense. Our identity doesn't match the defense identity, so therefore you got conflict. We wasn't a physical team, offensive-wise, Sunday night. The defense stepped up. I mean, damn, you hold them to 19 points, you think that's a win. And we could only muster up 12 points, even with TP getting hurt. We should have won that game, but we couldn't win that game because Kellen Moore with these stupid ass routes.
We'll talk about Kellen Moore today, but yesterday we were talking about Dak, right? Like, I wouldn't say just Kellen Moore. I think Dak is at the top of the list because you had opportunities, even with the, in my opinion, not a great plan, dealing with injuries, being rattled. You still had opportunities in pockets within that game to win, even with the picks. Like, that's the thing. You had 2 picks in the first half. You still had a chance to win these games. Now, could he have helped out when you got into that green zone, money zone, which just last week I praised Kellen for being exceptional in the red zone. I don't think that was the case this past Sunday, but that's where I need my quarterback to have a little effort in his system and say, man, nah, we got to win this game and do what I got to do it. And he didn't, though. So I don't want to say we didn't win because of Kellen. I think if you're going to do that game, right, blame it on one person, I think you got to start with Dak first and then trickle down. And that's why we did that yesterday, because he did not play well, regardless of the scheme and whatnot, which I say this all the time. I'm not expecting 4 straight games of having a phenomenal called game or great called game. So I need my quarterback to be able to overcome it when it's time, and he didn't do it. So I hate to interrupt you there. I just don't want this to feel like we're taking accountability away from the quarterback.
Oh no, absolutely. Dak played a big part in it as well. But one thing you said earlier with one of the previous callers, man, these curl routes. You said you counted 5, and I'm pretty sure it was way more than that. That's where I get into the Kellen Moore aspect of it. In the first half.
Yeah, I'm talking about the first half. Yeah.
Right. In the first half, Dak did not make good decisions. Them interceptions hurt us. I mean, they sat on them. I mean, they just sat on that mess. That's why I say Kellen Moore. I'm not blaming the game on Kellen Moore. I just don't like how Kellen Moore called plays. I don't like it. I don't like his route concepts. I don't like the option routes unless it's with Schultz. I just don't like it. CeeDee Lamb proved he is a man Sunday. I was really impressed with him. We have to build this offense from the line outward, because we're not going to beat anybody come playoff time if we can't get physical and at least average 3.5 yards a carry. We can't do it. You have to be able to run the ball come playoff time. We've been saying this all last off season, and now here we go again. We're saying the same thing. We just don't commit to the run.
That's why I said put it on a loop. You know, when Reek was talking earlier, I mean, you can take these conversations. Literally, it's almost the same exact conversations from last year, playing against this same team. It's as if it's so frustrating because it's as if we didn't learn, and it sucks because how do you lose to the Bucs, right, in the way you lost, and it seemed like, okay, we learned our lesson, right? We learned our lesson, and it came in with a plan of attack. But then when you watch this game, it's like, did we learn our lesson? Because it didn't feel like we learned our lesson here. So,
yeah, I got 2 quick things, and I'm gonna roll out. Fred Warner, he was looking at Dak and was laughing at him. It was like he just knew that they just had them figured out. And
I mean, he wasn't lying.
We need to, yeah, he wasn't. And we need to, I don't know if we're going to do it or not, but Donovan Wilson, man, we got to get that guy back. That guy is physical. He sets a physical tone. He's one of the physical players on defense, and he comes up to hit. I really like Dono.
That's my guy.
I would be willing to let Malik Hooker go for Dono.
Listen, that's a conversation we're going to have. But I ain't going to fight you on that one, brother. Dono's that guy.
Yeah. All right, Sky. Well, I appreciate you, man. I know your lines are long.
Yes, very. I don't even think I'm gonna get to everybody here. So let me get to some more, man.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Fresh. What's good with you, brother?
What's up, player?
How you doing, man?
I had a chance to freaking sit on the game, man, and of course during the game, I'm just like everybody else. I was a little emotional after the game, like pissed off emotional, right? So, you know what I mean? Just having a chance to really sleep on it, and then waking up the next morning and then seeing like the replays and seeing how things went. And then also just like listening to like previous calls, right? Some of the previous callers said we weren't supposed to be there. We don't have any great units. Man, I'm pissed off again because we had them on the ropes, man. When we went up 6-3, like I was at a Cowboys bar.
Should have been 7-3. Goddamn field goals.
Yeah, it should have been 7-3.
We're not even talking about that.
Bar, right? We were at a Cowboys bar, and everybody in the bar felt the same. Like, hey, last year we weren't this physical. We didn't feel like we were supposed to be on the same field as them. Like this year, it felt like we had them where we wanted them. You know what I mean? And,
we did.
And I think that's what that's what pisses me off the most is that we had their ass. We were out physicaling them. Well, that's not even a word. We had them out physical. We had them had them on the ropes, man. And we just let them go. And I think at this point, I mean, we could talk about, you know, the defensive players. We could talk about we need this, we need that. That loss was on 4, man. Like Kellen called. I mean, he did his. Like you said earlier, the game wasn't as greatly called as it could have been.
Close to greatly called.
However,
it wasn't called good at all.
Yeah.
But I said this for years.
But
you have to overcome it.
Yeah.
Man.
You got to overcome it, man. Like especially when you're getting paid that amount and this organization.
Take out the pay. It don't even matter about the pay.
Yeah.
You're the franchise quarterback.
The talent. Yeah, he's a franchise quarterback. One of the things I think changed, in my opinion, is when John Kitna left the building. For some reason, Dak was throwing with more conviction. It seemed like he was throwing with more conviction, and I don't know. He just had a different type of. It felt like maybe John Kitna was like that conduit between Kitna and Dak and Kellen Moore. Like he just communicated things to Dak different on how to operate officially within that offense. I don't know.
Not within that offense. Not within that offense. As a quarterback.
As a quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Kitna didn't.
As a quarterback.
Kitna wasn't around that offense for very long. Kitna pretty much was teaching Dak and coaching Dak up on quarterback things, and that's when you saw him elevate as a passer.
Yeah. I got you. But I guess from here, man, I mean, the only place to go, I mean, of course, we have the draft next and some other changes. I mean, Mike McCarthy is a great coach to me. There's no doubt about it. He's staying regardless. I love Mike McCarthy. As far as Kellen Moore, I get it. You know, everybody wants to move on from him. I just don't think Jerry Jones wants to move on from him. And that's the problem, man. I'm not saying Jerry Jones is the I don't know, man. Like, one of the offenses that I really like, you know, everybody keeps talking about the Eagles offense or, you know, Kyle Shanahan. Whoever is the assistant offensive coordinator of the Lions, that's the type of person I want on this team. Like,
they ain't got to buy. I already looked. Ben Johnson, you can't grab Ben. Ben he's offensive coordinator, so he's not going to take the same job. But
I love their offense, man. That's the type of offense I want in Dallas, man.
I mean, that's one of them. There are a handful. I mean, you can't say you can't just throw out Shanahan style. But you know, Ben Johnson in the Detroit Lions scheme is a very good one, but it's very similar to some of the schemes that I talk about. A lot of eye candy, a lot of play action, a lot of creative passing concepts mirrored with their running game. I mean, that's where we're at in today's game, and Ben Johnson has done a fantastic job.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job, man. I don't know what we're gonna do at this point. I mean, because it's we're gonna lose a lot of players. I don't know if
offensively you're really not. I mean, I don't think you're losing. I mean, you're obviously going to lose probably Schultz. I think you could bring back TP. I think offensively, you'll be fine. Defensively, you're losing a handful of guys potentially.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, hopefully the nucleus of this team stays intact because the young guys now knows what it feels like to be in the playoffs and win a playoff game. Hopefully they come back stronger. The only thing here, man, like if I'm Dallas, if I'm like the front office, I'm doing everything possible to put the best possible coaching around Dak. It's not even about the players at this point because he's had great wide receivers at one point. He's had, amazing tight ends. He's had great offensive lines, great running backs. None of that stuff really, helped us move forward. At this point, I don't know, man. Like I don't want to put all the emphasis on 4 and make it seem like, hey, we gotta get rid of him and stuff like that. Because I know that's sort of impossible at this point. However, I think there has to be some drastic changes. You know what I mean? he kept saying the same thing over and over. Oh, I'm gonna cut down on this. I promise you next year the interceptions are gonna change. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Like, I'm just tired of the talking, man. I think that's the entire fan base. But
yeah, I mean, when they ask him questions at the podium, I don't know what else he's supposed to say. I hate that. Like, well, what do you got to say about the interceptions?
Yeah.
What the freak you mean? What do you got to say about the interceptions? Yeah. Of course he hates the interceptions, man. Like, you want me to tell you how they gonna keep going? Yeah, we're gonna keep throwing interceptions next week, man. That's what I'm gonna do. Like, then people get mad when he says that. Like, these post game press conferences are freaking terrible, dog. But you hope that this year was an anomaly. Because in his career he hasn't been an interception machine. So you got to figure out what the root cause was, and you may not have that sit down with the OC and the coordinator because the OC may not be here. Because I think that directly ties into it. Like, look at where the picks were happening, while they were happening, and try to fix that. But if he's not here, now you got a new coordinator coming in, and you got to figure that out. So.
Yeah. All right, man. That's all I got for today, man. And all right, man. That's it, man. Hopefully, we move. I guess take these next few months and figure it out. And the one thing I hope for is that we move on from Kellen Moore. I doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it. My expectations are low for that, but that's the only thing we could hope for to make a change on offense. But other than that,
if you don't change him, I don't think much is gonna change. Appreciate you, Fresh.
All right, bro. Yep.
If I was Dak, I would troll the media right after the press conference. Well, what do you say about the interceptions? Do you think it's going to change? Nope. And go out there and throw 3 picks next game. Oh, my God. Dak said he's going to throw 3 picks. Well, when I say I'm not going to do it, y'all still say something any goddamn way. What question is that? What question is that? I'm going to do a couple more here before we get into overtime. 267, what it is, what it do?
Yo, Will, what's going on, bro?
What up?
It's We Don't Wipe These 304s.
Oh, it's good, Chris.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, I just want to say I know you're going to be doing off-season content, but thank you for all the content that you brought throughout the season.
Thank you, man. I tried, man. It was a up and down ride, as always is with the Cowboys, but we got through it.
Absolutely. One thing I will not miss on Sundays is after an interception hearing Greg Olsen say, well, it's almost like the cornerback ran the route for the wide receiver. I heard that so many times. And that, to me, is the biggest indictment on Kellen Moore. Because if Trayvon Diggs played against the Cowboys, Trayvon Diggs would probably have 20 interceptions because he'd be jumping routes left and right against this team.
That's interesting, right? Like, if Diggs happens, say Dak is here, Kellen's here, and 3 years from now, Diggs leaves and he plays against the Cowboys, same scheme, he might have messed around and had 3 picks in that scheme. Yeah.
To me, that game, and obviously Dak played horrible, but one thing that really upset me about this season is that you cannot lose 1,500 yards of production and replace it with a rookie and James Washington. Like, you look around the league when people say, well, Dak's not good enough to carry an offense. Okay, but here's the thing. We all know Dak Prescott's not the best quarterback in the league. But teams that have better quarterbacks than Dak Prescott are investing on the offensive side of the football. So what are we supposed to do when another team has a better quarterback, and not only they have a better quarterback, but they're investing on that side of the ball?
I think that's the funniest conversation, right? Like, all right, you don't believe that Dak can carry a team, which, whatever, let's entertain that ridiculous statement because no quarterback is carrying their team with no players, right? No, top end talent. Cool. He can't do it. Then why the hell are you taking top end talent away from him? The thought process should be, well, if he can't carry the team with, not top end talent, then go add top end talent. And, obviously that wasn't the case, and they still won 12 games, which we figured they'd still be a good team. But what happens when you get matched? Like, what happens when you go up against that type of team? What happens when you go up against that type of coordinator that can take away certain things or make things difficult? It'd be nice to have those type of guys. And that wasn't the case. So he had to deal with what he had to work with, and he still had opportunities.
And not only that, it's like you look at a team like Kansas City. They got rid of Tyreek Hill for, the reasons that they got rid of him. They didn't just say, hey, we're done entirely. Like, we're not going to replace this guy. They replaced him with Juju Smith-Schuster, who, is nowhere near as good as Tyreek Hill, but is still an NFL talent, and that's the one thing that Dallas didn't do. If you're going to get rid of Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson, you have to replace them with somebody. They didn't replace them with anybody.
Mr. Twan said Noah Brown, baby. Yeah, they not only did they do that, they went out in the middle of the season and said, you know what, we need more. Let's go get a former first-round pick from 2 years ago, and Kadarius Toney. Nobody in Kansas City or Philly or Cincinnati or complaining about their franchises surrounding them with that. And again, this is more of an off-season talk, not a San Francisco game talk. But this is why I said, hey, man, the ceiling here to me is going to be the NFC Championship game, because I think the defense, and then you lean on the ground or what have you. But if you had to lean on just throwing this thing around the park against one of those top defenses, I mean, that's going to be tough to do consistently because you don't have those guys. You just don't.
And that's the thing, right? Like the 4 teams that are in the conference championship games, they deserve to be there. You want to know why? Because they looked at their teams and they said, we're not standing pat. We're going to add A.J. Brown. We're going to add Christian McCaffrey. We're going to go out and add Kadarius Toney. And we're going to improve our offensive line in Cincinnati. The reason why the Cowboys are home right now after that game, they got to look themselves in the mirror and they got to say, did we actually do the best job we possibly could to make this team better? Even if the direction for the season going into the season was, we're going to rebuild. Okay, well, you got to a point in the season where you were one of the best teams in the league. So from there, you got to look at yourself and say, yeah, we need to make a push to add more talent onto this team, because you're playing in a weak conference. Not only are you playing in a weak conference, but you are a top 3 team in that weak conference. You have a chance to win the whole entire conference.
Put it on a loop.
Well, all right, Sky, it was nice talking to you, bro. Yeah, I hope everything's good with you. And, again, I appreciate all the content you put forward.
Thanks, Chris. Great call as always, man. Look for you going to be on the show later with Vach?
Yeah. I'll call in.
I'll see you in there, buddy.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, and this conversation will likely bring it back around once we get into off-season stuff, right? Free agency, draft, whatever. Trades, all of that. But we're still obviously dealing with the leftovers of the San Fran game. All right, I want to get some callers that didn't get a chance to call in here. 832, what it is, what it do. Going once.
What's going on?
There we go. What's up, man?
Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir. Got you loud and clear.
Yes, sir, brother. First time calling, man. It's Coach Junior, man, out of the Houston area, brother. I just wanted to touch on a few things, man, especially going back to that 49er game, man. But one thing I want to say about Kellen Moore, man, that I noticed, you watch over some of the games, man, especially the second half of the season, we had a lot of balls being jumped, pause. We had a lot of footballs that Dak was throwing being jumped on early downs. And what that said to me, as I was just thinking about it yesterday, is I think when teams watch the film, I think on early downs, right, the first and 10s, we have tendencies on first down plays, because a lot of guys were just breaking on the football without even thinking about a different route. So I think also sometimes when you get super, super detailed, those details can also work against you when you have a defensive staff like San Francisco or even Philly, that for that matter, who look at those details and say, hey, when CeeDee Lamb lines up outside the numbers, he's running these 2 routes on first down.
Yes.
When CeeDee lines inside the number, he's running these 2 routes on first down. You understand what I'm saying? So I feel like there was tendencies that we showed throughout the second part, or maybe even the first half of the season, that when we got to the second half of the season, the data went in, right? You got the young, quote-unquote, GAs printing out the paperwork and say, hey, look,
quality control
there's
guy.
a tendency here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. 70% of the time, depending on where this guy lines up, this is the 2 or 3 options. And if we break on one, we might go get it and take it back to the crib.
Let me expand on that. I'm not sure if you were here on a couple of the film breakdowns that we did where I put – have you ever seen some of my film breakdowns when we do Tape Tuesday?
I haven't. I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I haven't.
Okay, so when you get a chance, just go back and take a look. I have notes in the corner. We're watching the All-22, and I think 2 of the games I put 88 tell, meaning I'm just a regular schmegular fan that has a YouTube show. I picked up the tell when 88, meaning CeeDee Lamb, if he's lined up this way and he's not going in motion, he's running 2 routes. 2 of them.
Boom.
He's going straight up the seam, or he's going to run that kind of option, read the safety, cut in front of his face or run the post. But because there was so much miscommunication with that, they pretty much stopped that altogether. And they turned it from running up the seam to, hey, just run 5 yards, find a spot, turn around and catch it. Like, if I can tell that, what do you think a guy like D'Amico Ryans is going to be able to do? And let me shout out DMV once again. Earlier today, and my apologies for taking over your call here, but there was another play. They ran the 3x2 set, empty in a way, and they didn't do mirror routes, but they ran CD Lamb to the middle of the field. He caught a pass, boom, first down. And what San Fran did to adjust to that was they kind of did a situation where Ward would pass off, with Schultz at the time, to his guy, and they said, okay, CD Lamb's going to run 2 routes. He's either going to run up the seam, but we're on a goal line area, red zone area, so he's not doing that, or he's going to sit down or run a drag. So he read CD Lamb from what happened earlier, passed off Schultz, made a play on the ball, tipped, interception. They figured it out in one damn play. What you think teams are doing when they see a whole season of it? So you're absolutely right, man. There's a tell, and most teams have tells, but can you adapt to that? Can you have concept breakers against better teams? And we really didn't do that in this game.
Right. And if I have time for one more, man, I just want to bounce it off you
keep going. Keep going, brother.
And I'm a football guy, man, and I'm actually going to school, man, getting my degree, man, go be a GA, and that's a whole nother story. But
good luck with that.
Appreciate it, brother. So I do want to rebuttal some of our callers in the sense that I heard one gentleman say, and not to start a fight, but he says, like, I'm tired of these dumb routes and these stupid plays. Well, I rebuttal that because to me there's no such thing as a dumb route because 1 through 9 is still 1 through 9 no matter if it's the Chiefs or it's the Cowboys. So that's number one. And I said it because Kellen Moore doesn't run routes. Now, if we're running lazy routes, that's on the receivers, and the coaches got to hold them accountable. But you can't say a 9 route is stupid or a comeback route is stupid. Now, if we're calling plays repetitively, then, okay, that's a different conversation. But the route within itself is not stupid. The play within itself, right, if we're still running wide cross, right, like that's a play that all the successful teams, we're talking about those deep overs. Philly runs that. They're in the Final Four. Chiefs run that. That's in the Final Four. So to me, it's not a matter of a dumb play that was called or even a dumb route. It'll be more so the lines of, I would say, execution.
And
that's
concept.
on one side of it. But you have to understand the concept, right? But the other side of it is like, man, dude, those guys on the other side of the defense, they get paid too, right? So you're going against some guys where in practice you had time because you were in shirt and shorts, but in the game, Nick Bosa ain't playing with you. He coming in full pass, and I get to come get you, and you don't get to wear a red jersey. You a blue. You wear a Cowboys jersey. So, and point B to that is, Will Steele is, we talk about, and it's going to be a rebuttal against some of our content creators on YouTube because I catch some of you guys, different people, and it's just more of a conversational piece.
Okay.
We talk about how repetitive Kellen Moore is. I actually think that's more good than bad. I think we use it in a negative sense, but let me beg to differ because like you talk about a guy that I'm very big on, that's Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan offense is very simple but complex. What do I mean by that? The base scheme of his offense is the outside zone. Why? Because your strong safety who comes down in the box and your linebackers have to sell out to the edge to stop it. So when they run their play actions and their bootlegs and run those overs to go back, you have to drop back and, almost abort to get back over there into that deep third, if you will, right? So if he still runs the same base concept since his daddy was here back in the Trill Owen days and he's still having success,
you put some sauce on it.
What is the difference? Yeah, for sure. Put some sauce on it. So what is the difference? Sometimes we might crack block that thing. Sometimes we might gap block that thing.
Right.
But the motion still looks the same, so the linebackers are still seeing the same motion. So when he pulls it, there's open lanes. You know what I mean? So what I'm getting at is, go ahead, brother.
Let me rebut to the repetitive thing. I don't know. I see my guy Jay Tuck's in the building. I don't know if he said this. I damn sure ain't say this. I've heard fans say something along the lines. But repetitive is not the word I would use for Kellen Moore. I wish he would be repetitive with his bag. Because I've said this for weeks on end. I don't need you to switch things up every single week in regards to a completely different game plan, right? Now, you're going to have chess matches. You're going to have a section of the playbook or a portion of the playbook where, hey, man, against this team, we may have to do X, Y, Z. But this, we're so good at this, and this is what we do. 49ers, you brought it up. I brought up the Eagles. I bring up the Chiefs. I bring up the Cincinnati Bengals, the Giants even. Like, there's certain teams that this is what we do, right? We're repetitive in this. So I wish he was a bit more repetitive in certain aspects of his game plan, or his identity, whatever you want to call it. But I don't think he has an identity. So it's to be identityless or to not be repetitive week in, week out. And I think that goes against him, because you're not then allowing either your quarterback or your receivers or your running backs to come out on that specific play and say, hey, I know this is money because ain't nobody stopped us all year doing this. San Fran line up and say, oh, shit, I got Brandon Ayuk on Anthony Barr. We done lined up Ayuk on the linebacker all year and made money on this play. Because they do it probably every damn week when they need to, or every other week or what have you, whereas we'll do something and we don't see it again. When the last time you saw the 3 tight end situation where they spread them out wide with CeeDee Lamb in the backfield? When the last time you saw Kevontae Turpin get an end in the round? When the last time you saw somebody do CeeDee Lamb does a deep over, but when the last time you saw them do a 9 route with CeeDee Lamb prior to last week? You don't see these things on a repetitive basis. So I don't know if the word repetitive is what fans should use with Kellen Moore, as opposed to we just don't have an identity with Kellen Moore.
Roger that, man. I appreciate it, Will.
Good stuff, man. Great conversation. We're on the same page about that, though, in regards to Shanahan and that basis of the argument right there. I just don't know if that's the word, if that makes sense, Cowboys Nation. If anything, he's repetitive in being the consistent and inconsistency thing. People use that with Dak Prescott. We use it with Kellen Moore as well. I think he's repetitive in being inconsistent with what he wants to do on a week-to-week basis. Right? Said it coming into this game. Are we going to get 4 games of this? Meaning, we're going to get CeeDee Lamb in motion. We're going to use some play action. We're going to roll out. We're going to use Dak's legs. We're going to get some overs, some meshes. No. Not what happened. It's not what happened, right? So, okay, we're not going to get that. All right, now, Dak, I need you to ball the hell out. Part of me wishes last week, right, against the Bucs, we were kind of less creative and won that one, ugly, whatever you want to call it. We kind of just got over. Dak kind of just willed us through, right? Got the dub. And then we used that against the Niners, right, where we came out and we did all of these things. I mean, I was shocked watching the red zone offense compared to watching the red zone offense last week. Absolutely shocked. What were we, 1 for 4 down there? Getting to the green zone, money zone, and we're running a bunch of hooks and mirrored routes. Man, I'm just like, dude. And after the first pick, you can obviously tell, like, all right. I mean, Dak eventually scored a touchdown, but it was like, okay, they sitting on this. Your quarterback doesn't look as fluid and as confident as he did in that Bucs game. What can I do? And I think I saw in the chat earlier, well, no one's scared of Dak running. Well, you know what? I would have got him going with his legs. I would have 100% got him moving and running and getting pumped up and doing the Dak, flex and all that. Let him run. Let him run and get kind of in this game and kind of get back going and not being unsure of himself. 2nd and 2. Tony Pollard goes down. Why the I'm getting pissed off again. Why are you running an empty set? I gotta go back and watch, but correct me if I'm wrong. Anytime the Cowboys went into any form of shotgun empty or shotgun spread, how many times did you see the 49ers running a bunch of man? Not a lot. Wasn't a lot. Hence why you always saw the damn check down there. But 2nd and 2. Tony Pollard goes down. We elect to spread it out wide. Ran and shout out to, I forget the quarterback's name, but ran kind of a wheel routes with the slot guys and then post with the outside guys and put CD Lamb in the middle of the field. 2nd and 2. Run the ball with Dak's legs. Play action right there would have been great. I would have personally sent a message. All right, Tony Pollard went down. Malik Davis. All right, 2nd and 2. You don't convert. All right, 3rd and short. Not only did you run empty, but then, we keep a stationary pocket. You just calm down. And I said this on Twitter. I would have liked to see Dak just run right there. Just run. I don't give a damn if somebody was running wide open. Just run. I digress, man. I digress. With that, let me take a quick little break. Almost got my bag. That's how you know I'm getting a little bit, tiny bit healthier here. Almost let out a bunch of. If you are one of 39 million men suffering from ED, make sure you hit up Boston Scientific. They created edcure.org to help you find your best cure. Easy to get started. Head on over to edcure.org. Take a quiz. Learn the severity or risk of ED. They got customized content to help you out. That's the fastest and best way to find a cure. Hit them up. edcure.org, brought to you by Boston Scientific. What did you think I was about to go toxic?
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
In front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. We'll do it live.
That would not shock me if it came out that Josh Allen was on steroids. It would not shock me, Twan. He country strong, though. I feel like he just country big. He went to Wyoming. But y'all feel me on that 2nd and 2. Like, that's the play you came up with? After you see your most explosive guy laying on a field with a chance to go down here and take a touchdown lead, in your mind, on your play sheet, you like, yeah, we going empty. With Ezekiel Elliott, who does nothing for you out there. And we're going to run a wheel route with him in Schultz. A lot of people talk about certain plays later in that game. I thought that was the one to me. All right, you go score that touchdown. You start to take them out of what they want to do. You never did it. You never took them out of what they wanted to do. And this is what I mean by having that specific identity, man. You weren't never taken out of what you wanted to do either. But I ask, once again, what the hell is it that Dallas does? Kyle Shanahan, not for 1 second, had to go away from what makes his offense so tough to deal with, right? And as Jesse liked to put it, you might be able to take those body blows throughout the game, but it might catch you in the rib, and you might fall, you might get hooked. And they got hooked one time. All it took was one time. One time. And they gave up that touchdown. What body blows is Dallas doing? Little throw it to Dalton Schultz in 5 yards and throw it to CeeDee Lamb in 5 yards. Turn around, sitting down. I digress. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Tuck is funny. Oh, it killed you, Twan. It pissed me off. it's only right, if we do a Boston Scientific read that I bring in Queen after the fact. What's up, Miss Queen?
How you doing, Will?
I'm doing a little bit better. I got some of that off my chest there. What's up with you?
You know how my mind works, so I don't know why you trying to get me started, but
My bad, Miss Queen.
I'm trying to be serious.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to be serious today.
I just got my hand on the button, just waiting for it. Miss Queen, brought to you by Boston Scientific. Go on here.
All right. So we already know Kellen didn't get that pussy for the game.
He didn't get the
So
platter.
He went crazy.
He didn't get that platter P.
He didn't get that platter P before the game. So we was already screwed.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, everybody's been saying Kellen Moore needs to go, and he does. He really needs to go. My main reason he needs to go is because of his relationship that he has with Dak Prescott. I think Dak needs someone there that's going to get in his face and tell him the truth about himself. You know what I'm saying? They have a kind of relationship because in any other line of work, the manager is not supposed to have a relationship like that with the the workers that's under him. So he needs somebody that's going to get in his face, tell him the truth, cuss his ass out when he does stupid shit. But when Kellen Moore is calling these stupid ass plays for him to do, and then after that, when Dak sees that play probably is not going to work, because I'm under the impression, and tell me if I'm wrong when I'm done, that Dak has 2 or 3 plays that he can choose from that Kellen Moore has designed or called or came up with just in case something looks like it's not going to work. So he audibles out maybe the first play call to go to another one that Kellen has designed and called in. I'm not sure because I don't know that part of the game. But so Dak is really doing what he's told to do by the offensive coordinator, and our offensive coordinator sucks. You don't know you don't know who he's going to be from week to week. 1 week, we hitting on all cylinders, almost all cylinders, because we know that we always need improvement. But we're hitting and doing our thing. Then the next week, everything that he did to succeed in the previous week, he completely, it's like he loses his mind. He's got 2 separate playbooks. One that we're going to win with, and one that we're going to look like an ass with. And that's how he's been, bipolar. And, he needs to go. Jerry talking about how old he's getting and all that other kind of stuff. Look around you, Jerry. What you got around you that's not working with the desire that you have of your heart. Sometimes you got to let your friends and people you love, you got to let them go because they're not good for you. And Ezekiel Elliott. I know a lot of y'all, and even you, are saying that he needs to go.
Yes.
But I feel like that 2-headed monster that we had worked very well together when Kellen used them right.
Sure.
Because Zeke is like the jackhammer of the team on the defense.
Get you another jackhammer.
I wish, well, not many of them out there like Zeke.
There's plenty of them out there.
Was or is.
Plenty of them.
Okay. But from what I've seen, they haven't opened up lanes for Zeke to be more productive. Like they've opened up lanes for Tony Pollard.
That's false.
It's always an open lane for Tony Pollard.
That's false. It's not always an open lane for Tony Pollard. Did you watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneer game? Tony Pollard had to force
Yes,
9
I
missed
did.
tackles in that game, Queen. Let's not do that. We ain't gonna make excuses for Dak
I
Prescott.
know.
We can't make excuses for Ezekiel Elliott. So you mean to tell me for 11 straight for 11 games this year, Ezekiel Elliott couldn't notch 4 yards per carry? We blaming all 11 games on because there wasn't no lanes. Come on, man.
Well, I can't say that. He's not as good as he's not as good as he was. He's not.
He's not.
Nobody can sit up there and say out of their mouths that he's the same guy. He's not. And Tony Pollard, he pushed through some tackles last week. I mean, the week before. I was shocked and surprised. I really was.
Why?
And,
He's been doing that all year.
Huh?
He's been doing that all year. What you surprised
But
about?
it seemed like he was carrying guys. You know what I'm saying? With him, it was like he was carrying guys with him on some of his runs. You know how they push with their legs to get even more yardage?
Yeah.
Even though they got 2 or 3 guys on them, he was doing that.
Yeah, you want to bring back
So-
2.3 yards per carry. Okay.
No. I'm talking about Tony Pollard.
No,
That's what Tony Pollard was doing.
I'm just trolling you about Zeke.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. It's just hard to let go of people, and I know what you're saying because I already said what Jerry needs to do.
Exactly.
And I guess it's the same thing with Zeke. It's the same thing with Zeke, even though, people are loyal and, all this other kind of stuff. That doesn't matter because this is a business. It's not a true family relationship. And Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott fucked up that game. Can I say that? Excuse my friend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely you can.
He fucked up. He truly did.
He did.
He need to go back to the old Dak. 2016, 2017 Dak. That's who he needs to be.
Don't want him to
I
be
don't care if they call
2017,
him.
Zach. See, you must don't remember 2017.
Well, 2016 when he started after Tony Romo got hurt. He need to go back to him.
He's better.
They can call him Dink and Dunk. Okay, let's look at this. The game he played in Tampa Bay. I need that Dak on a consistent basis.
Sure.
On a consistent basis. But when you have an offensive coordinator who is bipolar, you're not going to get a consistent Dak either.
I'm sorry, y'all. What you want me to do?
Are you?
No, probably not. Right. You're probably, and that's what we've been talking about all day, Queen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been on the line, waiting. And but Dak needs to get his head out of his ass. He needs to go beyond what Kellen requests sometimes because Dak does see the field. Can't nobody tell me Dak don't see the field.
Indeed, Miss Queen.
So he need to go past all of that and do some other play, whether Kellen Moore gets pissed off or not. Michael Irvin them said they had to win in spite of the coaching. And that's what Dak needs to think about. But he's too loyal with this Mr. Kellen Moore. So that's all I got. I know it's something I'm gonna think about when I get off the phone, but I'm hurt to my core.
We got 8 months, so if you think about something, we got 8 months. You can call it another day. We can continue to talk about it.
I know.
We got a long way to go.
But I've been a fan since 1967, Will. 1967, when I came out my mama. I don't care who got something to say about that, because they put a Cowboys onesie on me the day I left the hospital, because my daddy was a diehard Cowboys fan.
All right.
So I've been here through all of the 27, 28 years.
100%.
And I'm still loyal, still diehard, and I will be until the day I die. They're going to have a Cowboy star on my casket when I leave this world.
Die hard.
I love y'all. I love Cowboys Nation. Take it easy. You had some really good callers today.
Always.
But
man.
take it easy.
Always. Thanks, Miss Queen.
Okay.
Always, man. Y'all are amazing. Y'all gonna keep coming at me. Sky was born in 78. She acting like Sky wasn't already alive and a man in 1976. Oh man. Miss Queen's always something. 1978 BC. I appreciate fans that do that. Maybe because I'm not trolling aside. Maybe I will do this when I am actually that age. But the I've been a fan since thing, I hear it in you. I don't even need you to tell me you've been a fan since. I hear the passion. I don't question fandom like that. I don't question it. So maybe you got to tell other people. You don't got to tell me that. You calling into my show, I know you care about this team a lot. It's all good. It's all good. But if I had a penny for every time I've been a fan since, man, we'll be doing this show. We got 904 and then Lowe's, and we getting up out of here. We in super overtime, so let's go. What's up, 904?
Hey, Will, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, sir.
Oh man, I'm still trying to recuperate from this loss, man.
It's been therapy. It's been therapy all week, yeah.
And it drives me to drinking, and I don't usually drink like that, but it's just one of those days, man.
Well, brother, if it's driving you to drink, you definitely got to turn off the Cowboys for a little bit, and then come on back. Come on back.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be back because I have these trolls on Facebook. They dogging me bad. I was like, well, you know what? It's all good. I'm gonna let them have it for the 2 days. I'm like Jimmy Johnson. I'm gonna give y'all 2 days. After them 2 days, it's over with.
I am older than you.
We turn the page, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and get ready for this off season. So in this off season, I know it's gonna be a lot of changes because you got to I don't know how much of the defense we're gonna have intact, but I know Zeke may be taking a pay cut, like you said, which he should, because all his guaranteed money is gone. And then you got Pollard coming off that gruesome injury, which I thought really was a dirty tackle. I really did, because he had a high ankle sprain along with a broken leg, which that's gonna cost him 3 to 4 months of recovery time.
Yeah, I saw it as soon as it happened, and I immediately thought, was that legal? And
I thought it was just a regular sprain. I really did.
Well, I knew
then when I saw the towel and stuff on his head, then I was like, man.
Well, I knew he was done for the game. So I just say he's done. There's just no way. But I'm talking about the tackle. I wasn't sure. I'm like, was that tackle legal, or did they outlaw? I wasn't sure if they outlawed it. I'm not saying they should.
I really thought that was a horse collar tackle because the way he came down on it, it was almost similar to the Dak injury.
It was very similar to the Dak, and in fact, it was almost identical in the sense of it wasn't horse collar. It was more grab him by the waist and then throw my body on his leg, and I'm sure it wasn't intentional.
And his whole body just kind of came down on it, and I was like, oh my God. I said, man, when it rains, it pours, and then ever since then, the whole the whole offensive philosophy changed from that point. Yeah. Because everything was really relying on Pollard making some plays. But I give CD his props. He did what he could. But Dak, you went from playing a perfect quarterback rating in Tampa, which I really stood out with the four on my chest, standing up, saying, now what? We beat the damn
Yeah, because you didn't think he was going to play that bad the next week, right? You didn't even need him to be perfect.
I was like, what the hell is wrong with him? And then I'm on the other chats with the other Cowboy fans. One lady came up to me and said, do you think Dak still had that mental lapse or something like that? And I come to think of it, and I know Dak been going through a lot with his mentalness.
Bruh,
because he went through a lot with his mom, his brother,
but that ain't
blah, blah,
that.
blah, that.
But I don't think that had anything to do with the game, right? Like that.
No. I really don't know because it seems like the same. It's almost like the same script from the last playoff game.
Right, which
and then
that,
I don't even know what they was doing on that last play.
Oh well, that was embarrassing.
That really was, and then they finally give it to Turpin, and then he get hit by a hit stick off the Madden game. And I was like, God damn! I said, this dude didn't even have a chance. I was like, who the hell called these plays, man? And I was like, that's why Kellen Moore just need to do some evaluations. If Kellen Moore gets hired as the Panthers coach or whatever, let his ass go. Yeah, I think it's time. And I rather have actually a good quarterback that come in there, you know, a Hall of Famer, you know, something like Kurt Warner, something like that. They know how to break down defenses.
Oh, I would love Kurt
and let
Warner,
him be his quarterback coach or something like that, or bring John Kitna back. Yeah, because he taught him how to, you know, to get in there and step in your throws.
I got a name for you.
Those little outside corners.
I got a name for
Which
you.
one is that?
Mark Brunell. He's quarterback coach in Detroit right now, and he's been coaching for a while since he's been retired. I would love a guy like bringing in Mark Brunell or something. But Doug Nussmeier, who was not really a quarterback, he was a tight ends coach for a little bit here. Then he became the quarterbacks coach. And Kellen Moore, I don't think they're really teaching anything to Dak, in my opinion.
No, because he's still stuck on this Boise State offense that he runs when he was in college. That shit don't work in the damn pros. It really don't. If you want to go back to college, go back to college and run this shit how you want it. But you can't do that in the pros because everybody is hip to what you're doing because you're all too predictable. Everybody's still running the same damn route. And then everybody's picking up on it instead of you just changing it up. Put a man in motion like you said. They need to do something. They need to kind of change their philosophy or something, how to beat that coverage. Because 49ers could have been beat.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Even with the turnovers, you still had a chance.
Yeah. Because, even a couple of times, Diggs had the ball right in his damn hands. He could have that could have been a game changer. And he used to catch that shit last year. Now this year, you fumbling with it. I was like, oh my God, you know what? That might be the one that bites us in the ass. And it was in the red zone when the lineman tipped the ball, and the ball was right in his picnic basket. Could have caught it. And then the next play, they just drove on down, and then they took it to the fourth quarter, and McCaffrey went in for the touchdown, which they put him up 7.
Yeah.
And they just have never looked back. And I really feel bad for Parsons. That Lion played his heart out. He literally wanted to cry out there on that field.
Yeah, defense balled out, man. Offense let them down. Yeah. Hey,
yeah,
dog,
they did.
Appreciate the call, man. I got to get one more and get up out of here.
All right, Will, man. You all take care of Cowboy Nation, and we're going to keep our heads up, man. Let's see what we do in this draft, and we look forward to the 23-24 season, man, so we can ball out.
Indeed, man. Thanks. Let's get to Los.
Yo, good morning, Sky. I'll get through my call quickly. And, hey, this is still a tough loss for everyone to forget about because we all know this is a great or good opportunity for Cowboys to go at least to the NFC Championship game, the last 25 players. But, however, we as fans root for the Cowboys, but your football head always told you, do you really trust this coaching staff? Do you trust Steven? Do you trust Jerry? Anybody that sees this team, it is what it is, a family business that will not change for a certain time or a long time, Sky. And they're still riding high on their success of what this empire has built over the decades, right? And it's a win-win for them because they know damn well they're going to have fans like me who ride and die for these boys in white and blue, no matter who the players are, right? So we just hope to go through the highs of celebrating a championship or have an opportunity to compete for one in the NFC Conference Championship game. And lately, they haven't cashed that check in. Heck, the most competitive teams that I've seen in Dallas or the Texas area who are firing coaches, GMs, spending money, trading after unsuccessful seasons or greater expectations at playoff success is every other Texas team except the Cowboys. And my summary of my rant is, we as fans become more immune to the failures because we can see the outcome of how they build their teams, how are they as coachings, and we just always have the question, do you truly want a championship or do you just want to be good enough to be Mr. Billionaire Jones way? And we'll see how this offseason goes, Sky. But there's only 2 players that you need to surround talent in these next 3 to 4 years, which is Dak and Micah. And how bad do you want it? And last I know, you mentioned your quarterback was a lucky pick that you lucked into because they wanted the Connor Cooks of the world, et cetera, et cetera. And he has only ran to Jason Garrett and Kellen Moore scheme. And Micah, he's just a generational talent that no one saw coming. And, you know, if everyone saw him coming, he'll be top 10. So we'll see if this is strictly business with Zeke and Kellen, if they're buddy-buddy with Jerry. But if it were up to me, Sky, just cut off their key cards like they did that one person on Hard Knocks and know they're gone. Peace out.
Appreciate you. And when them cut off their key cards like Jamal Adams commercial. So we got to use. Let's get to these super chats, man.
Super chat.
Dwayne dropped one earlier, said Malik not playing, was that loyalty to Zeke? No question mark. So you're saying it was loyalty to Zeke or was it loyalty to Zeke? It was dumb to not play Malik Davis. I said this earlier. I keep saying it. When your offense is sputtering like it was, you need some spark. He's a guy that can be a spark plug.
Super chat.
B Bird dropped one and said, when under pressure, Kellen Moore's playbook shrinks. Interesting. Dwayne came
Super
back,
chat.
dropped 10 and said, not going to an NFC championship and Super Bowl the past 27 years is the Jimmy Johnson effect. Put him in the Ring of Honor or our luck might change. I'm a little stitious. That one there makes no sense to me. I do feel like had they done something like that, then, I don't know, maybe football guys, type of thing. That's weird that he's not in there, but we all know Jerry's petty.
Super chat.
And we don't wipe those 304. Said Cowboys draft Osiris Torrance, offensive guard from Florida, and have a first-team all-country strength on the left side of our O-line. Have not been doing draft stuff yet. Probably won't for another week or so. Here, at least, on Vacha's show. I'm sure he's already in it. But we still getting through the off-season stuff. Then we'll get to the draft.
Super chat.
And then Smoke said, bro, give me the Tulane receivers and their OC. He knows plays. Appreciate you, Smoke. Appreciate you. All right, later on today, I'll be back on with Vach. And we'll be honestly not sure what we're going to discuss today. I'm not sure if he's literally going to move on to the draft or not. But like I said before, draft season is going to be even more in depth this year because I'll be tied with Vach. And if y'all don't know about Vach's draft, like that's how he got on. Like he's a draft guy. So I'm excited for that. And then Mo will be back on for A to Z Sports Prime Time. Make sure y'all check that out, 8 p.m. Central. Hit the like button, man, if you enjoyed today's show only. And if you rock with us, and subscribe if you're into quality Cowboys content. I emphasize quality, man, because we ain't giving you the poo-poo stuff. We ain't giving you the low-hanging fruit. If you hear it for that, you're going to be pissed off. So we go in depth here, man. All right. With that said, appreciate the donations, the calls, the chat box was rocking. All the content creators that were up in here, appreciate y'all as well. Make sure y'all come through tomorrow. We'll pick this thing back up. We'll start looking at some of these impending free agents, what the Cowboys should do, and who may be worthy. A surprise. Couple dudes. Has our tune changed from last year with some of these dudes to this year? 100% on at least one. I tell you that. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. Love y'all. Be out of here. Peace.